Joining us now, speaking of politics, as some people look towards next year to kind of, hey, maybe by this time next year, things will begin to make more sense. Anyway, for those who don't want to wait that long, don't want to have the holiday blues, how do you avoid them? Leigh Richardson, Brain Performance Center, always has a lot of good information. Joining us once again to talk about this. Leigh, holiday blues are one thing in normal years, but here we are, still kind of in COVID. Now, being in the free state of Florida, life makes a little more sense. You don't have as much of the nonsense that's going on, but nevertheless, I bet you're coming up against a lot of people that are having a lot of tough times this time of year.
Oh, absolutely. And COVID actually came out 2 years ago today. I heard that this morning.
Wow.
So the last two holiday seasons have been touched by it. And for people that are normally depressed or anxious, it just adds another layer of stress on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, we talk about a lot of this coming out of Thanksgiving and everything else. You have the get-togethers of the people that, I guess some of the problems, Leigh, and one of the questions I wanted to ask you pertains to this. So we all know those people in our family. And by that, I mean the people that we tend to butt heads with. And so that's always...
Oh, you have an Uncle Bob, too.
I think everybody has an Uncle Bob. And so, that going in, that's already a point of consternation and potential stress on the front end. It can create awkwardness and everything else. But then you add into it, COVID. And some people that might be, I'm not going in someplace unless everybody's wearing 5 masks and it's been boosted at this point, and people that might have different opinions. So how do you navigate those additional challenges?
Well, I think that you have to navigate those. Keep in mind what's important to you. And you can't be worrying about everybody else. What's important to you? If it's important to you to get your booster, get your booster. If you have to align with your basic beliefs, and the family just makes it a whole lot harder. You hit the nail on the head. Family relationships are complex. They are not as easy as we all like to think they are. And I think that you have to be respectful of other people's what they value. That's a fine line to walk.
So, Leigh, I once did something that did not work out in the long run. My wife and I were one family member in particular that we really butt heads with, and we were supposed to spend some time in passing around Christmas with said member of family, and we opted not to. And let's just say that that didn't go well. 10 years later, it still hasn't gone well. How do you make those types of decisions about whether you should even put yourself into a situation or not?
Well, I think that you have to think through it for one. If you thought through that decision and you talked through it with your wife and that was a good decision, then you got to stay with it. If you're impulsive, if you're reacting, if you saw something they put on social media, oh, what a jerk, I'm not going to go, spend time with them, then you're not thinking through it. So be sure that the decisions, because you're right, they will remember probably 10 years later from today, that one Christmas, that one decision that you made. And it's not realistic to expect everybody to be able to compromise their own personal feelings every single year. And, sometimes we just got to let it go.
Amen. Amen. I definitely adhere to it. Any other guidance you have for people to stay in a happy frame of mind this holiday season?
Well, I think, pay attention to your normal routines. There's all kinds of holiday goodies, food around us. Be careful what you eat. Think about your sleep. How much are you drinking? You got to remember that brain, that 3-pound brain is 60% water. It's got to stay hydrated. That alcohol and that coffee that you may be drinking more of, that'll dehydrate that brain.
These are good points. It probably doesn't make the issues with the family members better either. But Leigh Richardson, Leigh Richardson from the Brain Performance Center with some great advice for us all. Always appreciate the time, Leigh.
Thank you for having me.